My name is Josh Malerman. I'm the author of Bird Box. I'm also the lead singer and songwriter for the rock band The High Strung. I live in Ferndale, Michigan. The first scary novel I ever read was by a guy named Brian Coffey, but I didn't know this at the time, that was a pseudonym for Dean Koontz. It's called The Face of Fear. It's actually right over there on that shelf. And it was the first, this is probably 87, so I was like 12 years old. And it was the first time I'd ever, read a scary book. Aside from ghost stories maybe, and I'd seen a few movies, but to be alone with the novel, in your bedroom, mom down the hall, that kind of thing, it was magnificent. Going from age 5 to 15 in the 80s, oh my gosh, that's like the horror explosion, like the horror novel explosion. That period, oh my gosh, sometimes I don't see how anybody couldn't have ended up being a horror author growing up in that period. It's like, it was everywhere, movies, books, and it was such like a peak too. It was all in such a playful way. I think that horror, some of it's still playful today, but a lot of it's gotten very serious, like, oh, how real can we make this? When I was in middle school, a teacher had told the class that a man would go mad if he were to contemplate infinity, that infinity was beyond our comprehension. I really don't know exactly where it came from, but the image of a blindfolded mother with two blindfolded kids traveling down a river in a canoe, obviously they were fleeing something, and I loved this image. I just loved her dark hair, the blindfold, the two kids, like the row of, rowing a river, everything just seemed very eerie and symmetrical to me or something, I could see it, like the photo of it or something. And I'm like, what are they fleeing from? I started writing it and I'm like, well, what are they fleeing from? I don't know. And I'd like write a little bit more and, not much. I was about 10 pages deep when I was like, oh man, what if they are fleeing from infinity? Because they can't look at it, they can't comprehend it, they can't try to comprehend it, or they will go mad. And so, from there the book wrote itself. It was 26 days, probably the most brilliant, exciting artistic experience I ever had. The moment that Bird Box got picked up, I started immediately thinking, like, what's the next book gonna be, Because when you have, 18, 19 other novels, you're like, okay, wow, okay, this worked, Bird Box is coming out. That's insane. That's happening though, so now what's gonna come next? And it started to, here you think that you would have like this, embarrassment of riches. You have all these other novels, and as opposed to none, right? And what a pressure it must be to write a second one from scratch if you've had even a modicum of success with your first one. But instead, I discovered that to choose between those 18 or whatever was, like impossible. And how we did the readings for Bird Box was that we would blindfold the audience. And this is when we were like touring for Bird Box. We would blindfold the audience, and me and my bandmates would play like a scary movie soundtrack essentially, while Allison played Mallory, the lead character in Bird Box, and I would narrate. I actually wrote the last scene for the second book. I have a 2-book deal with Echo HarperCollins. After this, we'll see what happens. I would love to have more with them, we'll see. This is the second book of that deal. And I literally today wrote the last scene for that book. And later on tonight, I will like reread it to see, to fix a few things, and then I will mail it in. As far as like a sequel or something to Bird Box, I have absolutely no plan to do something like that. But why not have like another story, like what was going on a block away or a state away, whatever. So something like that maybe, like a 30-page story. I think that'd be fun to write. But then, I'm already thinking about, if I'm sending in book 2 right now, like let's start working on book 3.